This video is about how wisdom comes from experience. We're going to go deep into wisdom versus intelligence. We're going to touch on reference experience, how field experience is king, and we're going to talk about the present moment and how it relates to wisdom. Just think of wisdom versus intelligence. You know, wisdom comes from actually having experienced something, actually having taken the time to take action, and then from that action, having a reference experience where you can then, give valuable input to someone in the form of wisdom from, knowing how the full process is. Now, intelligence, on the other hand, you can read all you want, get all the research done, watch all the YouTube tutorials, watch documentaries, read all the books, but, there's no action to back it. And you may know the full process, you may know all the steps, but that only goes so far. Because when it comes to actually going about it, there's so many in-field factors that the information itself doesn't accommodate for. You don't have the trial and error of, testing something out, seeing how it goes. You've only heard end outcomes, maybe, people's descriptions of it, but you haven't experienced it yourself. It's like, I take the analogy of driving a vehicle. You can watch a lot of YouTube tutorials, but until you have tested your skills on the road, you won't be able to give a wise input. And the wisdom versus intelligence is more so, a lot of times people will hold merit to intelligence. They're like, oh wow, I have these accolades. I've gotten this much know-how of this field, this topic. So I am knowledgeable. I can now go forth and I can give value. But in reality, there's a certain extent of where, you tell someone how to do something, but then they won't be able to really understand how to do it until they start trying it out, seeing, how it goes. Like, take the old analogy of like learning how to ride a bike. You can tell someone, oh, move your feet in a circle and balance yourself and look around you, make sure you don't crash, and then you'll be all right. You can tell them how much force to put down on the pedal, how much balance to focus their hands versus their shoulders versus their abdomen, torso, whatever. You tell them like how to look, what safety equipment to use. But then if you put them on the bike, they're not going to be able to ride the bike. So that's like intelligence. You have all this intelligence, but it doesn't, you still don't know how to do it. Versus wisdom, say you didn't read about how to ride a bike, but you went out, you fell a few times, you crashed, you successfully made it up and down some hills, you made it on off-road terrain, then you're like, yo, I got you. When you're in this environment, you do this. When you're in that environment, you do that. When this happens, you do this. When that happens, you do that. And that is where the wisdom comes into play. And it's like, oh, well, that seems like it's a lot more foolproof because it's been field tested, they've been out there and done it. And, the wisdom versus intelligence, it's not that one is better than the other. It's more so that each has value. But when it comes to wisdom, there's a little bit deeper value to it. Because there's actually, take the scientific method that I love so much. They've taken their idea, they've field tested it, and now they have the results. And they can modify and try different things. But the fact that they're actually taking action and, getting into the action of living it instead of thinking about it, they're being about it. And that goes so much farther. And, it's not about, how much intelligence you have versus how much wisdom you have. They're just like two separate things. And, think of people who are of a higher age, they're, technically wiser because they've accumulated more experience. Now, not to say that means they're more intelligent, because they may only be wise about a few things, and you may be intelligent about a lot of things. But a lot of times people will mistake wisdom for like, oh, well, they're just talking about it. I could figure that out myself. But, there's certain things that come with the wisdom side from just having experienced it. So all in all, you should take more action. You should get out of your head, not stop trying to gain intelligence, but stop trying to focus only on gaining intelligence and start getting some wisdom accumulated. You know, they have years and years of actually doing something, so they have years and years of proof of field testing this experiment of how they go about doing things. And you, for yourself, won't have that same tier of wisdom at that scale of depth until you start taking more action and doing stuff. And all in all, I mean, you shouldn't get hung up between the two. A lot of times people start to compare the two, like, oh, well, I know a lot about this, but then someone else will be like, well, I know a lot about that too, but I've done it. And then they may be able to win the argument. Sometimes the other person wins the argument. But neither here nor there. The main point in the wisdom versus the intelligence is that you become more self-aware. You know, are you really living your life for you, or are you just going off of, you know, what you know is out there, what you know is attainable? Are you one of those intelligence people who's like, yeah, I read a lot, I learn a lot, I know a lot, but, you know, I don't really live life. I just stop there. You know, I don't really go field test it. Or are you one of the people who's like out there gaining wisdom? You're like, wow, I do this. I've done this. You know, I take action. I want the best for myself. So instead of stopping at just knowing of things, I go and I experience things. I get the fullness out of my life's experience, as opposed to just stopping at, you know, finding out about it, diving deep, and then just leaving it there, not actually living it out to the fullest capability that it could be. And it can go in many ways. This is just a broad overview of just the idea of intelligence, the idea of wisdom. And all in all, when it comes to being wiser and taking more action, it has to come from a place of, you know, self-love in order to be effective. You know, you don't want to just do stuff to do it. Maybe it's fun, maybe it gives you stimulus, validation, you know, you get some ego gratification out of it. But in order to become wiser, you almost have to, you know, really do it from self-love, because you have to try to go into the act without skewed filters of how you're perceiving your progression. You're not filtering what data you're taking in and interpreting as much, because you're coming from a grounded place where you know you are enough, you know that you're not being outcome dependent, you know that, you know, you're just going for the reference experience so that you can actually have input that is of value that you can then, you know, maybe alter and change. So you got to be open to new things. And that all that self-love of being like, oh wow, I'm doing this for me so I can enjoy living life, as opposed to I have to do it a certain way. There can be a huge downside to this wisdom versus intelligence, because people will, if you're not self-aware, you know that you're enough, can use it as leverage to put you in your head. Mainly, one of the driving forces of this is social conditioning. You know, social conditioning will put all these standards, accolades, things that would seem unattainable because, oh, well, they're super intelligent, or they're very wise, they've experienced it. But all in all, you know, everybody's subjective life experience is different, and if you really do realize that you are enough, then you don't need to chase the intelligence, chase the wisdom, in order to be considered worthy in certain worthy of certain titles and stuff like that. You'll be like, oh well, I'm enough, I'm self-aware, and you can detach from the social conditioning so that, you know, when you look at intelligence, it's not a value of worth. It's not held above you, like, oh, this person's more intelligent than you, so sorry, you're dumb now. It's, oh no, we're both humans, both people. This person just decided to level up in this area a lot and gain a lot of intelligence, whereas, you know, this other person decided to, you know, level up a lot and do stuff and get wisdom. But now, when it comes to wisdom, field experience is on top at all times. If you know a lot about something, like I said earlier, you only go so far. But if you've been about it, you've done it, woo, there you go. You got a little reference experience. You've stacked a bunch of wins, and you know how to respond to certain things in certain situations that someone who has intelligence won't. You know, there's so many variables, so many factors, and you can think all you want, try to prepare all you want, but it takes you being in the moment, in real time, to be able to calibrate properly, because the factors will change. No two experiences will be exactly the same, as everything travels through space-time. It's evolving and changing, and there's so many different circumstances and variables of data and stimulus that would change from, in intelligence. You've read the tutorial, you've watched the videos, you've had people tell you what they know about how to do it, but then, until you've actually got the field experience, you won't know, oh, but when this happens, you need to do this in order to change and get it to come out the way you want. Or, oh, you gotta watch out for that, because that pops up sometimes randomly. You've been there, you've lived it, and then you've gained that wisdom of that field experience. And you won't know how to respond appropriately to certain things until you've actually done it. We're not saying all intelligence is not helpful, but the wisdom comes into play when you've lived it over and over and over again. And you can read a bunch of how to be happy, how to not care what people think, how to get out of my head, how to escape social conditioning. You can read it, but until you start to practice it, build that muscle memory and really invest in yourself, showing yourself that self-love, you won't have the wisdom of how to sustain that reality. To you, it'll just be, oh yeah, well, I read about it, so it must be real somewhere off in the land of good things I should feel about, think about, and do. Yeah, I heard about them, I read, I know about them. But then you get thrown into the real world, and there's so much happening. You haven't built up the boundaries, the standards, the self-love, the core confidence through wisdom, through reference experience, to be like, oh wow, well, I've done this before. I remember last time I got caught lacking. I'm not going to get caught lacking this time. I'm not going to judge myself just because, these people are models, and I'm falling into not feeling like a model because I'm judging myself. Oh, wait. Oh, that was a trigger. Ooh, caught myself this time. You're using some wisdom. Whereas someone could tell you, oh, don't judge yourself. You're beautiful. You're amazing. And then you're like, well, what about this? What about them? What about what other people think? What about what I'm thinking about myself? And those things will just come at you, and they told you what to do. They had the intelligence. Ooh. But until you start living it daily and figuring out, oh, well, when this happens, I need to do this in order to get out of that thought loop. When this happens, I need to do that to, block out that social conditioning. And it comes from, those reference experiences, building that muscle memory and being like, defense, firewall, 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 firewall. I have boundaries. I have standards. Nothing can get past. I will not tolerate anything. I will not settle for less. I have wisdom now. I have gained reference experience because I could try to learn about it, but until I started doing it, I didn't know what I needed to block against. I was just walking along like, oh, I'll be happy today. Something horrible happened. Damn, my day is now ruined. But the intelligence told me that I should be happy regardless. But I still have to deal with this negativity from this stimulus that's coming at me. Oh no, I'm being judged. And now I'm judging myself on top of that. Oh no. Oh gosh. Oh no, I'm not enough. I saw this thing and it's making me question my progression in my life. Oh no, what happened to my I'm not enough tutorial of how to not fall into that trap? But until you're actually living and auditing and building up that core confidence as you go and being like, all right, so negativity is coming. Well, what do I need to do? Well, let me try getting present to the moment. All right, the negativity is gonna pass. Negativity is still there. All right, my focus is now being skewed to negative. I'm reinforcing that. Okay, well, I gotta catch this filter. All right, cool. So it's gonna pass. I'm just dwelling. Oh, I'm dwelling. That's what it was. I'm dwelling now. I have the dwelling blind spot checked off. All right, cool. So I'm getting present. I'm checking my filters and auditing, and I'm not dwelling anymore. Okay, cool. So I'm still a baddie. I'm not gonna let that negativity from these people who are trying to judge me come at me. The negativity's gone. I don't feel like I'm skewed filter looking at life as if I wasn't a baddie. All right, I know I'm a baddie. Okay, my core confidence is being built now. I have the reference experience. how to get rid of that negativity in real time. All right. Oh, but what about the judgment? Oh no, the judgment side. Okay, cool. The intelligence told me not to judge myself because it's just thoughts. So if it's just the thoughts, I need to. What do? The thoughts are a whole different thing. All right, cool. Well, I'm living it. I'm doing it. Well, all right. Now the thoughts of the judgment. Okay, I got rid of the negativity. So there's probably a judgment filter. I'm probably looking at things to reinforce my judgment of myself. Okay, so let me try getting present again. Okay, cool. All right. Just like the negativity, this judgment will pass. Okay, cool. So now that but they can't judge me because they don't know everything about me. Yeah, that's what the intelligence said. But they're still judging me. It's going. Now I'm falling back into judgment of myself. Okay, cool. Well, let me get back out of that. All right. And oh no, the social conditioning. I totally forgot about the social conditioning. They're just bombarding me with all these things that I haven't accomplished yet. You know, I haven't done this. I haven't done that. Am I worthless? Am I not going to amount to anything? Damn. No, the negativity is coming back. Oh gosh. The judgment. What do I need to do? Okay, I'm enough. The affirmations, they're not working. Oh damn. I had all this prepped, but I'm not able to. I'm in reaction. Oh no. Still in reaction. And there's just so much weighing down upon you. Oh my gosh. What happened? All that intelligence. But now next time you go about your day, instead of relying on the intelligence, although it may come in handy, you now have a reference experience. Okay, well, negativity? I got caught lacking last time. I don't usually feel negative. I know negativity shouldn't be my default, so I won't get caught in these thought loops of negativity. I won't skew my perception based on a negative filter. Okay, cool. All right. You had that reference experience from last time. You know, having lived it out, built some muscle memory of, trigger, firewall. Ooh, finesse that negativity away. You know, I'm a baddie. Oh, I'm not tripping on none of that negativity. The judgment's coming back, though. They're actually saying things. No, nah. It's swerve. Oh, I'm a queen. Chill. I'm not. You can't judge a queen. A queen is queen. Firewall. Stimulus coming at me. Whoa. Judgment away. All right, I'm a baddie. I'm a queen. Oh, social conditioning. What the hell? Everything around me is conformed to this view of the world, and that's what the standard. That's what the societal standard is. Whoa, this is a whole new one from last time, but, you know, I was tripping on that social conditioning. You know, I'm not going to let people set merits that I have to fit into, societal standards I have to adhere to. I'm me. I'm a goddess. My own life's path is the only one I'm going to have, so who are you to tell me how to live my life? I'm not going to care about what you think. Okay, so I'm a baddie, I'm a goddess, I'm a queen. I have those reference experience of now building a little bit more muscle memory, a little bit more core confidence, a little bit more investment into the self-love of, you know, me knowing that I'm enough. And, you know, you have the reflexes to then respond appropriately to all this negative external stimulus that's been bombarding you, coming at you hard for no reason. You're just before you were in reaction, but now you're not in reaction. You know, it is a great point to tie into presence and how getting present to the moment, you know, takes you out of that reaction. Not only are you learning from those reference experiences, you know, learning how to respond appropriately in certain situations, you know, learning how from living it over and over again, you can now navigate with the ease and lightness instead of being in reaction, but, you know, you can also get present to the moment. That adds to the deepness and the richness of the wisdom. Now, getting present to the moment, you know, you got to field test everything, like we talked about before. The reference experience is so valuable. But, you know, you can't solve a problem you don't understand by overthinking it. So you can think, you can get caught up in thought loops. Oh, what about this? What about that? This happened in the past. This might happen in the future. And it just goes and runs and runs and runs. But you can't solve any problems through thinking and overthinking and dwelling and projecting into the past, projecting things from the into the future. You have to get out of your head, and you have to find out for yourself. That wisdom only comes from you being present to the moment, not perceiving things with a filter, with skewed judgment. And there will be some blind spots that you have, but in order to be able to find them and be able to get the fullness out of it, instead of allowing the thoughts in the back of your head to, skew the way that you're going about attaining this wisdom from your reference experience, you have to be present. You have to be more aware, self-aware. Wow. What if I didn't think about anything? I just did it. I experienced it. Took in the experience without judging it. I didn't judge myself while doing it. I didn't overthink it. Try to force my way through it with thought. I just took things as they came. I calibrated. I moved forward. There was more of a ease and a lightness instead of a resistance, because I was stuck in my thoughts before, but now there's an ease and lightness because I'm being more present. And it really, being present helps you to just take things as it comes. Say you do have the intelligence side and you're like, oh, well, I know a lot about this, so when I go about doing this, I am prepared. That's cool, but then, like we mentioned earlier, what if things change? You don't have the reference experience. You don't know how to respond appropriately when things go off the track. You have this perfect plan built out. You're a planner. You love planning, but then, divergence. What do I do? Thoughts, just overthinking, taken away from the experience that you're getting, taken away from the amount of wisdom you can attain because of the skewed perspective that you're now filtering your way you're looking at things through. There's so many traps that come from not being present. The wisdom will come if you take the action, but are you overthinking it? Are you overthinking even the wisdom when you're trying to present it? Like, oh wow, I didn't understand the problem because I was overthinking it while I was going about it. So yeah, all that judgment, it was really a positive outcome, but because I was overthinking it, it was perceived as negative. So my wisdom that I have attained is now skewed and stored in my brain with a negative filter on it. When if I was present to the moment and just took things as they came, that even though the outcome wasn't what I anticipated and wasn't what I desired, at least I'm viewing it as I took action. How many people take action? Not very many. People like to dwell in thought. They like to dwell in their ego-based identity. They don't want to challenge that belief that they've built up of themselves. They don't. They'd rather live in the fantasy world of, this is me. I do this. I am this person. So I won't challenge it. I'll just overthink things. Yes. Oh no, the thinking. It's getting to me. The dwelling. It's getting to me. My ego. Oh no. It's being challenged. All right. No. That can't happen. No. I just won't take action. My reality might be shattered. I've lived this way, this belief this long. This is my identity. Can't challenge it. A lot of people don't take action just off of that, sheerly off of that. And a lot of times you may have wisdom from things that you've done that are skewed by filters of your ego. It didn't come out the way you wanted, so it was a negative experience. But if you're present to the moment, you wouldn't be judging your experience. You wouldn't be falling to those traps of the ego. When something happened and it went the way you wanted to, you wouldn't be skewed with a filter of, it was super, super amazing. Although, things that are amazing are good, but you wouldn't be able to fully perceive both sides. You'd be skewed bias, super positive, skewed bias, super negative, skewed bias, somewhere in the middle on the spectrum. But, getting present to the moment and taking things as they come, not judging, not thinking, understanding that, you can't solve the problem to get the wisdom from the reference experience by overthinking, instead getting present and taking away all the filters and really falling in love with the process of being you living in a day in the life of you. Just gaining wisdom from taking action, because so many people will live life settling for less, not taking action, not going above and beyond to enrich themselves, to give themselves value, to care about their growth and investment in themselves. They'll settle for intelligence. I'm not saying again that intelligence is bad, but they'll settle for less. They won't live it out. They'll know about it, but they won't have lived it. They'll just be like, oh, I'm cool with settling for the story of this, story of that. Yes. Yes. I'm dwelling on my intelligence and thought. Yes. Oh, reference experience? Oh no, none of that for me. I like my thoughts. Oh, what? You're wiser than me, but I know more than you. What? Oh no, I'm stuck in thoughts of my intelligence too much, What? Presence? What do you mean? Huh? I didn't even take that into consideration. What? That happened when you were doing it? Oh wow, well my intelligence might need a bit of fixing. Yes. And, not to say that that's how all intelligence is. There's amazing resources full of intelligence, but I'm just saying that in order to get the fullness out of your life's experience, you can either dwell in, oh, I know a lot, or you can be like, wow, I've lived a lot. I've done a lot. I've gotten out of my head. I've gotten into a flow state. I've enjoyed the fullness that my life has to offer. And, I'm not overthinking things, trying to understand them by thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. I'm like, okay, I can get out of my head. I can get present to the moment. I can experience the richness and the fullness unstifled. And then die with no regrets, because I lived it all out. I didn't settle for the story of it. I gained the wisdom from actually doing it. And it's important that you show yourself that self-love of, being more self-aware of those blind spots where you're settling for less, where you're just overthinking things, trying to understand how to solve problems, how to go about doing things without even, trying it out, and trying it from a place of presence where you can really get the fullest experience instead of having a stifled experience, with skewed views, skewed perspective of how things really are. But it takes you wanting that much for yourself, wanting the best, nothing but the best for your life. And, if we really shut off the thinking mind, get into present moment, take it as it comes, the wisdom will come. Because it won't be stifled, it won't be filtered. You'll be able to benefit from all of that wisdom. It's all up to you, but it is completely attainable by you. I have all faith in you. You can do this. So don't get caught up in wisdom versus intelligence. They both have value. But, it comes with wisdom, that field experience, that stacking of the wins, knowing how to understand, how to navigate, how to take right action when certain problems arise, how to, get present to the moment and gain that wisdom from an unfiltered place where, you're not overthinking, where you can really just perceive things as they come. And, there's the outside social conditioning. There's the internal thoughts. There's so much that hinders your ability to even retain wisdom without skewed judgment. But, become more self-aware, get present to the moment, build up your core confidence, realize in your core that you are enough, so that when you, get wisdom from experience, it comes at the fullest, unfiltered version that it can possibly be from you being present, taking things as they come. Don't get caught up comparing intelligence, comparing wisdom, thinking and overthinking things instead of, taking action, getting reference experiences, dwelling in thought as opposed to getting present and experiencing things unfiltered. But it's completely attainable by you to get wisdom, take action, and get the fullness out of your life's experience You just have to want it. You have to build the habit of being a person who takes action. And it's not about, getting hung up on like the wisdom versus intelligence, or the reference experience versus no reference experience, or the presence versus non-presence. You shouldn't be getting hung up on that, because at each of those subsections, to think that you are not enough is assuming that there's something wrong with you, when in reality there's nothing wrong. You can completely do all of that. You can completely get the wisdom, being present. But to be like, oh, but there's this thing that's keeping me from doing it, is you just fabricating, oh, there's this thing that's keeping me from getting the wisdom, because, that's just your thoughts. Being like, oh, wow, don't take action. Overthink. You have intelligence, so you don't need to take action. Yeah, stagnate. There's many traps, but, you are enough. You can gain that wisdom just simply by taking action. And to assume that you're not that type of person who takes action is also assuming something about yourself, when in reality you are completely capable of taking action to gain wisdom, breaking free from your thoughts, breaking free from social conditioning, and living the fullness of your life. So discard these false identities and ego-based beliefs that have been built up, that you've invested in, and really just see that, wisdom is very attainable to you. All you have to do is take action. Get out of your head, get present, and do. Don't think, don't overthink. Don't be in reaction to your environment. Find the ease and lightness of, just being present to the moment, taking things as they come, calibrating in real time, not getting stuck in your head in thoughts, returning to presence, and getting the fullness out of your life's experiences, so that you can have that reference experience, you can have that wisdom, and you can die with no regrets, knowing that you did everything. You didn't settle for less. You got the fullness out of your life's experience. So, get that wisdom. It comes from reference experience. So take action. From the present moment, that is. You got this.